Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. Today we're going to be unboxing a game called Root, a game of woodland might and right. This is published by Letter Games. I'm very excited to open this thing up. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys the outside of the box, which has fantastic art, and then show you guys the inside of this, which I'm even more excited for. So first off, I'm going to do a quick zoom so you guys can see the artwork. As you can see, it looks really good. The artwork's very unique for sure, but I just love it. I don't know what it is about it, but it draws me right in. I'm going to show you guys the sides of the box. You can actually see all the different angles. So if it's on your shelf, you've got this look for that one. And again, I really like this when you have differences across all sides, because of course if you're putting it on your shelf, you can put it whichever way you want and it'll display just fine. Again, front and sides, fantastic looking, very cool. Just so you guys are aware, here is the creator and the art, the listing on the very front. At the back of the box, we have, of course, a summary of what's going on. We have the different types of creatures, essentially, that you can play as. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a little bit about the back here so you can understand it. Again, I haven't played it yet, so I'm not an expert, but I'm going to go ahead and read the back of this and show you guys what's inside, because that's the purpose of this video. So in Root, 2 to 4 intrepid players attempt to rule a fantastic forest kingdom in the ultimate asymmetric game of adventure and war. Now you might be wondering right away, this is a 2 to 4 player game and this is a solo channel. How does this make any sense? The reason it makes sense is because there is an expansion to Root. Now, in another video, which will follow this one, I will be unboxing that expansion. That expansion adds solo play into what is a multiplayer base game. So that is the reason why I'm very excited to show you this game. Not only the base, but the expansion, because this game is playable solo. So moving on here, we can play as the cats. We can play as what looks like an eerie dynasties, the Woodland Alliance, or the Vagabonds. So we got a bunch of different things. It looks like it's cats, birds, bunnies, and raccoons, if I'm not mistaken. So the cats are trying to dominate the woods, extracting its riches and policing its inhabitants. So basically, each one of these things are going to be doing something completely different in the woodland area, which is one of the coolest things about the game, is that everybody has their own specific goals, their specific abilities that are very much different from the from the other players, or other different ways that you can play. So the Eerie, for instance, says regain control of the woods while keeping your squabbling court at bay. The Woodland Alliance is gather supporters and coordinate revolts against the ruling regime. And Vagabonds seek fame and fortune as you forge alliances and rivalries with other players. They all play differently, which is really cool. At the very top right up here, it says each game includes cards, counters, and a faction boards featuring hand-drawn illustrations. That's another reason this board is going to be amazing looking. Over 50 screen-printed wood warriors, a two-sided autumn and winter mounted map. That's really cool. A rules reference and robust learn-to-play manual so you can start playing in minutes. Another huge bonus to this game, so that there's no big barrier to entry in terms of getting to the table. You can actually jump right in with that rules reference and start playing right away. So that is the back of the box. You can see a little glimpse of the artwork, but I'm going to show you guys the inside, which is why you're here. So let's do it. Let's crack this thing open. This has been, oh man, I'm so excited for this. This is actually going to be one of the games, by far, easily, probably one of the top games of this year, without a doubt. I don't know yet where it sits in my books for solo play. I'll have to give it much play time and all that kind of stuff to determine whether it's a game that's going to land in my top 10s and things like that. We'll see, but the excitement for this, you know, can't be ignored. So it's worth checking out, that's for sure. The other cool thing, too, is on screen, this might look like a huge box. It's actually a medium-sized box. It might even be, compared to most other board games on your shelf, it might actually be in the small to medium category. It's not really a large box, which is kind of nice to have a box that has a solid game, from what I'm understanding, out there in the wild, but in terms of opinions, but not be taking up a gigantic portion of your shelf. So, the first thing we get here is the Law of Root. So it says right here, using this book. So Root contains 2 rule books. this rules reference and the Learn to Play guide. If you like a conversational teaching style and many graphical examples, read the Learn to Play guide. If you like learning strictly from defined formal rules in a concise reference style, read this book. The Learning to Play guide also contains instructions on using the winter map and playing with various factions, mixes at all player counts. So that's really cool because it's going to give a little bit for anybody. You can really pick which of the two ways you want to learn Root. That's awesome. I think more ways to learn games is a good step. Right underneath of this, you've got the Learning to Play. So this is going to be probably the closest thing to a normal rule book. And then you've got the Law of Root, which is a more, from what I'm understanding from this beginning here, it's a picturesque kind of style you can... actually, let me think about this. Did I read that right? Let's see. It's a conversational teaching style with many graphical examples. So that is... Oh, it's opposite. My mistake. So it's this one. This is the one, sorry, that it would be more like a typical rule book. And that makes more sense because I opened this up and it really does look like a rule book. It's just a ton. If you like that, like, you know, 1.1, then 1.1.1, and everything's kind of in order and stuff like this, but it's step by step and you're kind of learning as you go. Actually, this one you probably wouldn't be learning as you go. You're going to probably read this over like a normal rule book. This is what you want to read first, but if you want a more graphical introduction to the game, that I think might be better for visual learners than Learning to Play seems like the better book. I like this already because it's going to have pictures of what's going through. It's got a walkthrough of preparing, playing. This actually seems a lot more interesting to me because I am more visual. I'm way more of a visual learner than I am reading just a gigantic book of text. So I really appreciate that they put both options in the box. That's very cool because no matter what type of person you are, you've got options. Next up, we've got, I'm guessing this is, oh, it's great. So this is part of the Learn to Play walkthrough. It says turn 1, so maybe this is showing you how, you know, turn 1 could potentially happen, so you get an idea as to like how a turn would go, and then you've got turn 2 on the back. So this is probably going to go along with the Learning to Play book because that would kind of make sense. I would have to double check that, but that's kind of the consensus I'm getting. So next up we have, ooh, very interesting. We have a board. Look at this thing. So compacted, all sealed up, and what we're going to do is I'm going to move this over to the side for a second. We're going to see whether I can go ahead and get this out on the table. Now this, I believe, is 2 boards on top of each other because I think they said there was a winter and autumn board in here. So you're going to have the regular Root board, and then you're going to have what's called the winter and autumn board that might go on top of it, would be my guess. So that's kind of cool. So here is the regular Root board, and oh, actually there's player boards in here too. So I might be mistaken on that. So this is the board itself. And again, remember, this hand, oh, it's on the back side. That's so nice. Okay, I really hope I can give this thing justice by pulling this out. Let's see if I can fit this into this area for you guys. I may have to move the camera back so you guys can see this. Yeah, we're gonna have to move this back just a bit. So I'm gonna tip this up. We're gonna just move the camera back. Sorry for the jolting. There we go. So, all right, we got most of it out. And now we're gonna get this last piece extended out, and there we go. So there is the game board, and again, like they were saying, this is completely hand-drawn. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you can see a little bit more about the details on the board, but look at that. Like the actual tree. So every single tree is hand-drawn. You got different areas of the boards. It looks like you got like bridges way up here with some trees. You've got, of course, the actual route itself. The logo. So again, I don't know much about the game. I don't know much about the different landmarks within this the map, but the artwork's already drawing me on. I should say. It's very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back now so you guys can see the entire thing. Quite large. Now there is another side to this board. There's also the very bottom, which you can't see, but I'll tip it down. There's a score track along the bottom here. It goes from 0 on this side, 30 all the way up on this side. So just so you're aware of that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to flip this over to the winter side. So I'm just going to fold this over once. We're going to flip it over like so. I'm going to open it up, and there we go. There is the winter side of the board. And this is really cool, because I have no idea why there's two sides of this board. Maybe there's two seasons, maybe there's two sections of the game. I have no idea. My guess would be that it goes through the different seasons. So that's really cool. Again, there's more artwork, there's more tree. The trees now are all covered in snow, although it might be hard to see. So I'll zoom in for you, but all those trees around all the different landmarks are now covered in snow. You've got ice here in the water. You've got like some nice lamps and fireplaces lighting up the buildings and stuff. So the landscape has obviously changed because winter has happened. Of course, at the very, very bottom, you still have a score track. So the very bottom of the board, there still is that score track, which is you're gonna be using. So that hopefully shows you the board in its entirety. And now what we're going to do is talk a little bit about each of the mats for the game. So here is the mat, or the player mat for the cats. So again, as I mentioned before, every single creature within Root is going to have its own way of playing it. I don't know how to describe it, but basically the best way to say it is how you play the cats and how the the rabbits interact, how the I don't even know all the different creatures, to be honest, how the raccoons interact. They all have their own special abilities that the other ones don't use. There is a general, I believe, if I remember correctly, I remember hearing that there are some things that are similar across all four, but it's very small. So a lot of it comes from, a lot of the coolness of the game comes from the uniqueness of the different things that you can play as. So here's the cat board. I cannot speak to this at all. We've got like a buildings area here. We've got like what could be, I have no idea what the top is. Crafted items are up there. So here's bird song, place one wood. Daylight, these are, first, second. I don't know what this means, but these might be the things that they can do. On the back, we've got the faction component manifest, so warriors, buildings, tokens, other pieces. Again, all this stuff. Got like complexity here, aggression, card wealth, crafting ability, playing as them, a little write-up, and then the setup. So if I go like this and I take the Woodland Alliance, for instance, and I flip this over, you'll notice right away, just from the icons alone, there's differences here. So now the buildings are different. You've got 3 bases here. You've got your warriors. Sympathy is for the tokens, whereas Wood and Keep is for... So again, everything's different. And this is what really creates replayability as well as a very unique feel of the game, because every single one of these things is adding something totally different that the other factions don't have. So that's really awesome. The other thing that's interesting is, of course, you're going to have to keep real good attention and pay a lot of close attention to your faction and know how to use that faction. So here's another one here. This one's very interesting because look at this. Nothing in warriors, nothing in buildings, nothing in tokens. This is for the Vagabonds, and they are all in other pieces, so totally different. Of course, their card wealth, complexity, aggression, crafting ability, all different. And it got set up here as well. So very, very cool, very interesting. I'm intrigued by this for sure. Next up, inside of the box itself, we have tokens, of course. So there's a couple things of tokens. Can't speak to them, but these obviously relay back to the tokens on the back of the playmats we just looked at. So let's see if I can flip these right side up. So they look like this. You've got the wood tokens. Got a whole bunch of other tokens in here that I can't speak to. And you've got some blank ones here that I'm not sure why they're blank. You've got what appears to be items of some sort. So I'm not sure their usefulness in the game just yet. And this is what the backs of those tokens look like. Okay. Oh, look at this. The wooden... So this is another cool thing. Each faction's got their own wooden cubes. Oh, look at that. I actually had no idea that there was actually dice in this game. So there's 2 large dice. These are actually quite large. So that's very cool. I don't know what they're for or how they are involved in the game. So again, the tray for this game is perfect. Everything fits into 3 sections. We got dice here, cards here, larger cards over here. You've got yourself a deck of cards. So let's take a look at what's inside of this. I'm really excited for this. I cannot wait to try this. I want to throw this out there, not only solo. I really want to try to see what this whole solo thing is with Root, but I also really want to see... it's just cool. I love it when games have multiple factions that don't play the same. That's just intrigues me every single time. I love it. Okay, so we got overview cards are the first ones you're going to run into, and obviously it's per faction would be my guess. So got a bunch of these. So if I should get through them really quick, we can just take a look at the other side of them. So on the opposite side here, we've got Bunch of cards. I have no idea if this is like a card you get per season or if you get it at the beginning of the game. I have no, or maybe you pick it, but these are all faction specific, so there's a bunch of those. Again, artwork is phenomenal even on the cards themselves. It looks really good. It jumps right off the card at you. It's very different and unique. Look at the eyes on that guy. Okay, next up we've got, oh, this is interesting. So there's a board setup example here. And there's 4 of them? Yeah, for all the different factions, so that's kind of cool. So this is going to show you how to set up your player board. If that's the case, that's really handy. You've also got your walkthrough here. See if I can get this to focus for you guys. Again, for each one of these, there's a board setup example. So that's cool. Oh, look at the cards. So cool. I love the artwork on these. So good. Okay. What is this exactly? Let's see. Okay, so we got quest cards, like fundraising. So again, icons-wise, the artwork, I love it. They got like individual art for each card, and it looks like they're hand-drawn. That's cool. I don't know what any of this symbolism means at all. Of course, it all correlates back to the tokens and the specials for each of these different things, but these are quests. That's what they are. Quest cards, that's what these are. These look sinister. I'm not too sure what they are. Maybe they're enemies? I don't know. These are thieves. You don't. Oh, thief, tinker, and ranger. So maybe there's a bad guys that are going to mess with you. We've got another deck here. 2 of them. The loyal vizier. A couple of those. Not sure what they're for. We've got these cards. It looks like they would be like an eagle that maybe comes down and snatches them. Oh, it's an owl. Move in battle. Oh my gosh, a vulture. It looks like a vulture. Jeez. Okay, so there's a lot of interesting, unique backs and different types of decks going on here. That's cool. Okay, what are these? No, mouse in a sack. Root tea. Oh, I love these cards. They're so... Now I understand. Okay, there were so many people that were saying that this game was very, very cute, and it had a really interesting appeal to it, and it just was like... I can see now what they're talking about. The artwork's phenomenal. It's really cool and interesting. I like that. Really, really, it's very unique and jumps out. There's more of these, actually. So there's a whole bunch more. Tons of them. So this must be the major type of card in the game. So there's a whole bunch more. And, of course, every single one of these is... Some of them are different. Some of them are double. There's doubles of some. But that's so cool. So many different ones. Oh, I can't wait to try this. This looks awesome. I want to try this right now. It's so good. Okay, the other thing, or last thing to show you guys, would be the actual wooden meeples themselves. So, of course, all 4 factions that come in the game have their own wooden meeples. Don't want to drop them on the ground and break them. I'll take 1 out of each. So we got 1, 2, 3... And I don't know. Oh, there's only 3? Aha! So I learned something new while I was going through this unboxing. I got a little bit worried there because I was going, okay, we've got a whole bunch of wooden tokens here, but they're orange, blue, and green. Where are all the gray ones? Because there's only 1 gray one. Well, guess what? I didn't take a look or a closer look at the back of these, but if you'll notice... and I actually noticed this earlier, but I didn't for some reason. You'll notice over here in the Warriors section, there's 20 blue. And this is, of course, for the birds. You've got the bunnies here, which have 20 of them. And then you've got the cats. There's 25 of them. You come over here, there is none for the Vagabonds. So the Vagabond actually only has 1 pawn. So I have everything. Nothing is missing. I got a little worried there. So basically, to show you guys each of them, this is what they look like. So again, they're super, super cute. And when they show up on the board, I just love it because their eyes, of course, are the biggest part of them. And that really, really helps them stand out. They're also wooden, and they have a really nice smell. This, I'm not going to lie, this bag smells amazing. It smells like a campfire. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I have no idea how to play it. I've heard really good things about it, and I cannot wait to try this. So this is basically just an unboxing to show you guys about the game. I have no opinion on whether I enjoy it or not yet. I will be diving into this at some point when I get some time, and I would love to have you guys join me. Also, I will be doing an unboxing for the expansion for Root as well. That expansion is right here. It's called the Riverfolk Expansion. And this one, which we'll talk about in the next video here, is going to go ahead and add a whole bunch of other individuals to play as well, plus the ability to play in a cooperative mode with the mechanical Marquise, which is very interesting. So we'll be talking more about that when we get to it, but for now, hopefully this helps you understand what you'll get inside the box of Root. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.